All right, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the video. Um, I have gone, as Britney Spears says, and oops, I did it again. Even though I'm not a huge fan of George R. R. Martin, I have done a lot of research on the tabletop game. Mainly, watching videos and battle reports and thinking about it. And so, luckily, it turns out that some of these bad boys were on a pretty big sell. So I bought a starter set. And I mean, raise your hand if you already knew I was going to pick Greyjoy because that's what I picked. Now, this box has Roderick Harlow, Asha Greyjoy, Victorian Greyjoy, he's the badass, Aaron Greyjoy, and then it comes with Warsworn, Reapers, a Bannerman for the Reapers, and then 22 Reavers along with the captain and Bannerman for the Reavers, which I think that's going to be 2 units of Reavers, 1 unit of Reapers, 2 units of Reavers, and then 2 units of Ironborn Bowmen. So pretty much a straight up infantry box. So let's go ahead. I mean, I already got Victorian's crew, the Iron Victory crew. So obviously, in a game, it just got here this afternoon, actually. So obviously, if I play this game, I will be using Victorian and his crew as kind of my big elite unit. There's a lot of units you can buy, and they generally can be anywhere between $20 and $30, sometimes a little lower. And each box set is basically one complete unit. So it's a nice box anyway. This is by CMON Games, and like I said, if you haven't watched any game reports, any live plays, this is actually pretty fun. The game itself is pretty simple, but there's a lot of tactics to it. There's a lot of like rock, paper, scissors, like cavalry are great for flanking, but they suck if they get jumped by, elite infantry. Archers are good for ranged combat, obviously, but if cavalry get around to them, then they're in trouble, right? And as well as that, you've got the tactics board. And what the tactics board does is, in addition to your forces on the table fighting, you have your forces at court who are trying to manipulate things so that they can win the Iron Throne, or whatever. So, depending on where you put your diplomat, it will cause certain abilities or events to happen. Like if you put your diplomat on the first space, then one enemy unit must make a panic test and suffers -1 to that roll. Or if you put it on the 5 or the 4, it means one friendly unit can make a free attack action. That could be devastating if you use it during the right time. So, interesting, since all these could be used with any other game, including OSC or any other role playing game. On one side, it's trees, and on the other side, it's piles of dead corpses. That is pretty interesting. And these are, your typical, looks like about 2 mil. It comes with a ruler for ranged attack. Nice. That's one thing they said also about this game is if you buy a starter set for whichever house you want to play, and you have a friend who buys a starter set, That's basically all you need ever get. You know, it's not like some games where you're just constantly having to buy new stuff. Let's say like Games Workshop. We've got castle walls, and the castle walls show how damaged they are. And there's enough castle walls to actually build a castle. That's kind of cool because there's a lot of different like scenarios in the game. And one of the scenarios could be attacking or taking a fortification. So, all right. You got mission cards. You've got character cards. So there's Asha Greyjoy, the Kraken's daughter. She has inspiring presence. So any unit you put her in gets a morale stat of 5 plus instead of whatever it is. So I'll put these aside. And then, of course, you've got the unit cards. Let's see if I can open these. And unit cards are just exactly that. Every unit that comes in the box. I need to empty my garbage can. I've been wrapping my wifey's Christmas presents. Every unit that comes in the box has all the stats on one side, plus a pretty good example of how you would paint them if you wanted to. I mean, one of the things some people say about this game that makes it awesome is if you don't want to paint it, you don't have to, because every single faction is its own color. So, the Greyjoys are this kind of green color, and House Stark is kind of a really pale blue, almost white, but not quite. It's like white with just a tad of blue. So think ice. So yeah, we've got Reavers, the Ironborn Reavers, known along the coastline of the Seven Kingdoms as raiders and pirates. So we've got 2 units of that. We've got the Ironborn Archers. Look at this. After completing an attack for each enemy rank that was destroyed, one friendly unit with the pillage in long range of that enemy gains a pillage token. And you can, depending on your commander, you can spend pillage tokens if you're Greyjoy to do stuff. Here's House Harlow's Reapers. Damn, these guys, they look badass, but they're light armored, but their attack is really good. And they can pillage. Yeah. So when an enemy fails a panic test from an attack, for each pillage token on this unit, choose one. And the same effect can be chosen multiple times. The enemy either suffers a wound, or you may restore a wound to your unit. Nice. And then we have a card for the castle walls. And it talks about the castle walls have 6 wounds. Arrows ignore line of sight. Uh, the castle has defenses, tar and pitch. It's resilient. Yeah. And then we've got, this looks like just a what's going on thing, right? So unit actions, they can pivot, they can move, their speed and pivot, or that's a maneuver, or they can march, which is move twice their speed and then pivot. Charge is pivot, move speed plus 1 die 6 and attack. Attack is shift or change facing and attack. Range attack is just shift up to 2 inches and attack. Retreat, move at speed plus 1 die 6, and you get in with a pivot. And then it's got conditions like panic, vulnerable, and weakened. All right. So, damn. So, attack bonuses, critical blows. For each attack die roll of 6, defender will suffer +1 hit. So, 6s count as 2 hits instead of 1 hit. That's good. And then panic tests. Let's see what we've got in the card deck. This is where you're going to have both your combat leaders and your courtiers, I guess is what you'd call them. And sometimes you'll have, for one character, like Asha Greyjoy, you'll have one where she can be in a unit, and you'll have one where she's, let's see, order, Warcry, start of a friendly term. This unit, no, that's still a unit leader, just different. This one costs 1. This one costs, oh, if you flip this one over, on this side, it's got the C. So this is your political character. And then you've got 3 choices of which Asha Greyjoy you want. You can take the Kraken's daughter, Captain of the Black Wind, or no, that's just Captain of the Black Wind. That's just the back. All right. Victarion Greyjoy. Let's look at this guy. He's the Iron Captain or Master of the Iron Victory. Costs 3 points. He's expensive. And then this side he's the commander. All right, let's see. What can he do? Victarion. He's relentless. He's got a furious charge. Then we've got Reaver Captain, Warsworn, Aeron Greyjoy, Rise Again. And then you've got cards you can play like Hold the Line, Rally the Troops, Catapult Barrage, etc. And then, what are these? Okay, these are not character cards, but it's still Asha Greyjoy. So let's look. Let's look together, shall we? Okay, these are, when a friendly unit passes a morale test, you can use this card to restore 2 wounds to the unit. But only if it's within range of Asha Greyjoy's unit. Okay, so these are like special abilities you can play depending on who your leader is. And the 2 main leaders they give you are Asha Greyjoy and Victarion. Aemon is in another box or whatever, the vampire. And then we've got We Do Not Sow. What is Dead May Never Die, The Kraken's Wrath, The Iron Price, Finger Dance, The Raiding Call, Blessed with Stone and Still. And again, these are cards you can play to do certain things during a battle. Nice. You get a set of dice 6s. These are really nice dice 6s. And on the 6th face, it has the Kraken House symbol. Very cool. Very cool. I like dice anyway, so I mean, that's a very cool thing. If each house comes with its own specific dice, that to me, that's just like bonus, you know what I mean? Then we open this up, and I'm not going to open this up entirely, but you can see all the bases. This game uses 4x3 and all of the different figures that come in this game. I think you end up getting like 40 something figures in all told. which is supposedly more than enough to play uh, the game uh, for pretty much as long as you want, you know. And there's lots of one thing that I think is interesting about this is that there are lots of different missions. So it's not just put your guys on the table, I put my guy on the table, whatever. There's actual, objectives and stuff like that, which a lot of games do that, obviously, but that, of course, in my opinion, that's a huge bonus. And then we've got all of the miniatures listed. There's 55 of them. Yeah, which means I need to hurry up and get rid of as much stuff as I can. Oh, that's neat too, because it comes with low palisades, low stone wall, hedges, stakes, forests and bogs, weird wood trees or corpse piles, castle walls. Right? So everything you need to play in one box. Now, will I paint these eventually? I think I will, And I'm not going to go out of my way to try and win any awards, but they look like they'll be easy since they're mostly wearing, just metal and leather. And then, of course, they have their standard, which is a gold Kraken on a black field. So that'll be cool. And yeah. Looks pretty cool, pretty fun. So that is the thing. I've said I was going to simplify my life and start getting rid of games, which I am. And then I turned around and dove headfirst into Blood and Plunder and A Song of Ice and Fire. Who knows? Maybe I can get my wife to play one of these. That would be cool, right? Some of you are probably surprised I didn't go with Ramsay Snow, but no, I couldn't go with Ramsay Snow. Not after what he did to poor Theon. I mean, Theon kind of deserved it, but at the same time, Ramsay is just a sociopath. So, yeah, I couldn't get down with that, All right, what's going on here? Oh, okay. All right, so I picked up a couple of Dragonborn. I'm going to glue some tells on them I have from another thing. And they'll stand in as Sarns from Tauslanta. It's so weird, it's like a lot of the creatures and whatnot that players and grognards absolutely hate about 5e have been in Tauslanta since the beginning of time, like since the 80s. And which is why I like to call Eberron Wishbrand Tauslanta, because that's what it is. It's like, hey, you're playing Tauslanta, except all of the flavor has been removed from it so that it could use D&D rules instead of, actually following the good Tauslanta rules. But yeah. So absolutely, if players wanted to refer to Tauslanta players as furries, they could do it. Because, I mean, even though most of the group that I'm running is humans, and a gnomekin, you could easily play a bunch of Griff, which are freaking birdmen. You could play Sauron, Sarnids, which are lizard men. You could, I mean, you know, in Talislanta, they even have a gigantic playable race called the Mog, and they're pretty much like 9 foot tall, sentient, humanoid sloths. So yeah, they look pretty much like a sloth in the face, and they live in the jungles and the swamps in the south, and they're generally pretty peaceful, and they just kind of, you know, you could play that in Atlanta. You could play a mud man, which is a creature that lives in the muddy swamp and spends all of their time mining for amber, which they trade, and they're actually hextopal. You know, like they have they're almost like centauroid, you know, in that they have 2 sets of legs and 1 set of arms. And then, of course, the Ahazu warriors, which I've showed off, they have 2 sets of, or 1 set of legs, but 2 sets of arms, which means they get a bonus to attack because they're, you know, they got twice as many arms. Hey, you know, makes sense to me, man. They also specialize in weird weapons, like they have a throwing weapon that, for the life of me, reminds me of the glaive from Kroll. It's like basically like this gigantic throwing star type thing that they, you know, all love. Okay. Yeah. Been watching Amazon, making sure my orders are showing up. But that's about all I got to talk to you about today. You know, just chilling and painting, looking at these. Like, I do have a Stark unit, and this is how cavalry work in the game. It's just four figures on a base, and this is the color for House Stark. These are the Mormont Bruisers or something like that. Umber Bruisers. House Umber or whatever. Their symbol is like a bear. So yeah. So yeah. I'm thinking if I get more money to blow, or I'll put it on my Christmas list, I will try to get my hands on a Stark, or not a Stark, a Lannister starter set. I think I would like to play House Lannister, which, from what I'm seeing from all the different things online, apparently they love their cavalry and big blocks of halberdiers. So that could be really cool. Anyway, I think I've spent about enough of your time chatting with you about this stuff. If you've played A Song of Ice and Fire, hey, let me know what you think about it. You know, how you found it. Is it as good of a game as I think it might be, or have I wasted, you know, a C bill on something that I'm not really going to enjoy too much, you think? And we'll see, you know, we'll see. I mean, is it something I'll actually play, or is it something that's going to end up in one of these cabinets never being played? We'll see. Oh, the other thing that came in today too was the Black Tide Chosen. Uh, just another unit of infantrymen for Greyjoy. What you do is you pick a points value and then you build your army. Except like a unit might cost like 4 points, you know. So I'll have to read the book better, but and then yeah, you build your army out, find out what the mission is, do the mission, and call it a day. So Merry Christmas to all. Until all, I'll talk to you later, and I'm gonna get this uploaded.